How's it going, guys? Dan here with another Last of Us Part 2 video. Today we've got a special guest talking about all things accessibility in The Last of Us Part 2. I was astounded by the amount of features, accessibility features that Naughty Dog put into The Last of Us Part 2. So I thought we'd get Morgan Baker, an accessibility specialist, to come in and chat with me about all things The Last of Us Part 2. Guys, I hope you enjoy the video. Please leave a like and check out Morgan Baker on all her social media platforms. With that being said, let's get into the interview. Today we're going to be talking with a very special guest, Morgan, all the way from LA. Now, I've got to say, I was astounded by the accessibility features in The Last of Us Part 2. I saw a video a couple of days ago just outlining how many features were in this thing. I'd never seen anything like it in a game, and we're happy to have Morgan here who actually worked on the game. Do you want to tell us a little bit about it, Morgan? And thanks for joining us as well. It's an absolute pleasure to have you.
To be here. Thank you so much for the intro. That is true. I was an accessibility consultant for Naughty Dog when I was working on The Last of Us Part 2.
How's that experience working with a company like Naughty Dog? You know, for me, they are one of the best developers in the world, in my opinion. So what was that like? I know you've got a gaming history with Animal Crossing.
But during my time at Naughty Dog is really amazing because they have I'm sure as you are, we're an extremely talented team.
Oh, yeah.
That I was able to work with extensively. And I mean, the great thing of it too is not only are they talented, not only are they extremely competent, but they have truly a passion for both their game and their player base. So as you can see with the features, over 60 accessibility features, that's not something that you see ever. So clearly there's a passion for their player base.
Tell my viewers a little bit about, because I know there's a stigma around that blind people can't talk or they can't play games or whatever it is. Do you want to talk a little bit about that?
So you'll hear towards of when talking about deafness specifically, you'll hear a lot of notions like, oh, can deaf people drive? And it's like, well, of course you can. And a big one is, how do you play video games when you're deaf? And it's like, well, you're looking at the screen just like me. But, and definitely, as you mentioned, the big thing is that people are always surprised when I can talk, which is like kind of a little bizarre to me that's like a shocking phenomenon. But for me specifically, because every deafness is very different, it's a spectrum. And there's no one deaf experience. So for me, I am profoundly deaf in both ears, but I do have something called a cochlear implant that I wear when I'm chatting with people like you, Dan, just so I can hear you. But when I take it off, nothing.
Is my accent affecting? Because I know I've probably got a strong accent. It is. Is it a little bit harder? You working overtime?
Oh yes, it is. No offense to your accent. It's completely, it's a lovely accent. But it does make it harder to hear from me. I studied mathematics and computer science as an undergrad, and we had many international professors, and it was a pleasure to have them, but also a nightmare as a deaf person because I could not understand the lectures to save my life. So I was like, please, I need a sign language. I need captioning. I need anything. Please, Lord, help me.
Yeah. So why don't you tell us a little bit about the features in this game or what you sort of worked on? I know the game hasn't come out yet, so you can only touch on so much, but maybe give us a little bit of insight.
Definitely. I can talk to you just as a gamer, just like you reading these features, even outside of me working on it. And I think, well, first of all, the blind low vision features are mind-boggling to me. But I do want to highlight as well, because I was the consultant for deaf accessibility. And these features are something, again, speaking just as a player, I have never seen. These are incredible. I am mind blown again by the vastness, by the amount of features, and I think this definitely stems from the fact that they have a passion for their player base, right? As I mentioned earlier. But like, for example, I want to highlight my favorite feature that I read about and that I worked on, which was directional subtitles. Yes, this is one of my favorite features. Did you read about that at all, Dan?
No, I haven't seen this one. Tell us about it.
So basically, the way it works is you'll have your dialogue, whether it be Last of Us is very much a story-based game.
Oh yeah.
Right. And so you have your dialogue, but you also have your combat. But when you have both of these things together, if you are deaf, it becomes unimmersive because you're trying to read the dialogue to understand, you know, they're telling the plot while you're playing the game. I mean, anyone who's played the first game could say that. But it's very disorienting and unimmersive if there's like many things going on and you have the enemies talking, but you have your ally whispering to you. Yeah, it's too much. It's there's a term that you can use called hearing fatigue. If you even have mild hearing loss, you will find yourself extremely overwhelmed. In many cases, of course, not for every person, but in terms of deaf accessibility. And then imagining if you have profound hearing loss, meaning that you cannot hear at all, it's you get lost in the moment, and the game becomes less about the story and you become more about what you've missed.
Yeah.
And that can become extremely frustrating in many games. I actually do not play. It's quite awkward because like, oh, have you played a lot of these type of games? And I'm like, no.
Yeah.
Because they've been completely inaccessible to deaf people.
Wow.
Which is why I can play. I'm a big Zelda fan. I'm a big Animal Crossing fan. This is an issue, but when I play, and of course I won't name games, but when I play games, I become unimmersed because there's things I've missed, and I'll have my partner sitting on the couch with me, and he will be pointing out like, oh, they told you to do this instruction. And I'm like, well, gosh, that's really frustrating because I just completely missed that. Because I didn't hear it or it wasn't subtitled. But the big thing with directional subtitles is that any person can just put in subtitles, but I don't know where they correlate with the game, right? You'll just see underneath, like the person says something, but I'm like, where are they? What are we doing? Like if there's an enemy that says something, I'm like, well, where is the enemy? This isn't helpful. Then when you wear your headset, you can hear where the enemy is. But for me, if you just subtitle it, I don't get equal information as you, right? So the point of directional subtitles is that it'll actually show with an arrow a small way towards where the sound is coming from. And this is very, very big. So this is going to be something that's going to, it's big. I'm really excited.
So essentially, if you are completely blind or completely deaf, you could play The Last of Us Part 2 and have an experience like none other.
Absolutely. This is something that, at least for me personally, I have not seen before. And you can just read through those features and scroll through Twitter and just feel the excitement buzzing the disability community.
Have you had a chance to play the game yet yourself? How much have you played?
With them, yes, but I have not. I need to play the final product still.
Yeah,
but
and it's good. It's good though. Of course,
I've played the game.
But you can tell us that it's a good game, can you not? It's a brilliant game. I mean, 96 Metacritic. You must have saw that.
I don't want to sway opinion, especially to the game isn't quite out yet, so I don't want to talk too much about my personal opinion, but I will say that the scores, the game's looking good with the scores, right? When I saw that, I was just like Naughty Dog, look at y'all go! I was really excited when that was coming out. I couldn't sleep that night because I was so excited for the team. I literally was up on Twitter and Discord all night just chatting with people because I was so excited for them.
That's great.
They did an incredible job.
Absolutely incredible. Thanks so much for joining us, Morgan. I really appreciate it. Where can we find you on social media?
Twitter, and it's at MomoXMia. Like MIA.
Oh, and I forgot to mention I'll have manual captions on this as well, so
Thank you. I
that'll
feel
be
like I
awesome.
would be a hypocrite if I did an
I know,
interview like this.
I would be too. I would be too. We have to have it, so get it in. Thanks so much,
Yeah,
Morgan. Really appreciate
yeah,
it.
of course. And it's
Really
a pleasure
appreciate it.
chatting with you. You're so sweet.
There you have it, guys. My interview with Morgan Baker. Once again, we thank her for taking the time out of her day to chat with me. Please, again, leave a like, subscribe if you're new, and let me know what you thought of the interview and the accessibility features. I just thought it was absolutely incredible what they've done, and let's hope it's in more AAA or games in general moving forward. So, guys, thanks again. I'll talk to you soon.